Is Ashes of Creation getting a new engine update? What's this? Unreal update, the next step of Ashes of Creation's development. Okay, let's find out.
This engine has been a huge success.
Yo, those are really epic
Epic
headquarters.
stocks are up by at least 14% since UE5's release.
Why is
We've
it
got
underwear
developer
again?
after developer begging us to use our engine. But
With Steven on.
it's not enough. We need to innovate more. But sir, according to public relations, our engine is widely praised. I'm not sure rapid innovation is necessary. Silence! You know nothing of innovation.
Wow.
I didn't sell my soul to the devil to settle with widely praised. The sky is our limit. We can go further. Yes, we can go much further. Sir?
You know, it's interesting here, and I actually think that's the case actually with Interpret Studios and stuff, because like there are so many MMOs that are not doing as good right now, right? And some are in heavy decline and people are leaving them and stuff, that I feel like they're under a lot of pressure these days to actually produce a super good MMO that can keep up with the current MMOs and be actually better even. Like, I feel like they're under so much pressure because the MMO genre is not doing super well, unfortunately, right now.
Are you 5.1 was just the beginning. 5.2 we can push AI.
Oh, wow.
5.3 teach it hacking. 5.4 it can attack the world leaders. Our AI powered by sweaty neckbeards and nerds.
Take over the world and we can control this pathetic planet.
But sir, this is madness.
This is madness. What did you say?
Madness. This is epic.
This is Sparta. Oh, I see the reference here.
Hey, what up, boys? Holy heckin' hell, it's been at least 24 hours since we baselessly praised Ashes of Creation as the savior of the MMORPG genre, and with the newest Unreal Engine 5 update, my mind is blown, is what I could say. However, this update is kind of mid. But it does fix a major concern I had with the game and an issue that has plagued one of our currently popular MMOs that is considered the best graphics. A controversial thing to say, I know, considering graphics are subjective, but it's still a relevant concern I had with Ashes of Creation and the gaming industry as a whole. But before we get into that, our patrons and I would love for you to grab yourself a Coca-Cola, because with the new Unreal Engine 5.1 update, Nanite is finally working with leaves. See, I told you it was mid.
Leaves?
But it is still worth a video regardless, not only because I need to milk any kind of content due to this month's livestream being delayed, but I still think it sets expectations for the future of Unreal Engine 5 and the future of our highly anticipated MMORPG. Now, with all that bollocks out of the way, let's begin.
And that's actually crazy because like Unreal 4 already looks really good. Like I've seen World of Warcraft in Unreal 4 and it looks really beautiful. It looks very great. There are actually some videos on this channel we did like several months ago about World of Warcraft in Unreal 4 if you guys want to check it out, and it looks really nice. And yeah, by the way guys, if you're new to this channel, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more content. And yeah, I'm like super curious what they plan on doing also graphics wise, because we live in modern days. Like it is important to also go with the times, I think. Like sure, graphics is not what makes a game, but it's definitely a nice addition if you have good graphics, right?
So I might as well start the video by talking about why you should care about this update. Surely Narc is just talking about any old random crap and clickbaiting it out the wazoo, right? Well, yes, but also no, because this solves an issue I was fairly concerned about with Black Desert Online. To summarize the bulk of this update, the revolutionary way to render geometry called Nanite has now been implemented for Foliage, and that's a big deal. We've made plenty of videos discussing Nanite and Lumen previously, so instead of explaining it in in detail again, I will just assume you're all bored of my low IQ attempts to explain it in layman terms, and we'll just move on with this script. Only joking, of course I'm going to be talking about nanite again, because the context is important for you to understand this update. You see, previously, objects in the world were rendered using polygons, and depending on the amount of polygons, it takes longer to render. To combat this, when rendering many objects on the screen at once, a system called LOD was designed, level of detail. Depending on the distance of the objects, the LOD would decrease, allowing more objects to render quickly as the polygons were also decreased. The problem with this system is that creating LODs takes a lot of time and effort from a development point of view. Nanite replaces LODs by using a revolutionary tech called dynamic level detail, basically a way of rendering objects dynamically because polygons are replaced with this new dynamic level detail. You can see what this looks like and how it deforms as you move in and out of range of certain objects. Now, before 5.1, Nanite was not available to objects like foliage, trees, and basically any kind of object that had some form of reactionary animation to it.
That's actually really good, because if you can load in stuff faster and it's also more detailed, for example, it makes exploration so much more fun. Like, one of the games that I have like the most fun in exploring, and that's not actually an MMO, it's just an RPG game, it's like single player, and that's Skyrim. And there's like one thing I actually always hated about Skyrim when I was on top of a mountain. Like, when I looked into the distance, I saw like some beautiful lakes and stuff, but suddenly like trees and objects were not so clear anymore, and they looked a bit blurry and stuff, right? And I thought it was like so sad, because you're on top of this biggest, or one of the biggest mountains in Skyrim, and you can barely see a thing. You see, some clouds and stuff, and then you see only like the water, and it's kind of like, doesn't even look really like water from the distance, and all those mountains look sort of like blurred out and stuff. You stop seeing some of the trees because they're not getting loaded in and stuff. But if you have this kind of system and stuff, and maybe they can make it where you can also see pretty far, I think this makes exploration more fun. So I have some high expectations actually for exploration Ashes of Creations. If you're walking through some landscape that's like kind of like in Skyrim, and you can like see very, very far and everything is like detailed, or you walk through some forest and you're standing next to a tree, but like several hundreds of meters ahead there's another tree, but it's also very detailed. I think that's really cool.
Trees blowing in the wind, grass, leaves, etc.,
and the
etc.
movements of
These
stuff
still had to be rendered using LODs, and because of that, the drawback to rendering hundreds of LODs still existed. As you can see from this clip here, as the objects are rendered, the further away they are, the level
like in
of detail
Skyrim.
decreases until
like
the
in
trees
Skyrim.
eventually pop into a flat image called a billboard. And it's this particular aspect that I want to focus on. The huge innovations that Nanite brings to Foliage in this 5.1 update completely revolutionizes rendering in a massively multiplayer world, and we can use Ashes of Creation and Black Desert Online as prime examples of how this tech has massively improved the performance and quality across gaming as a whole. So, BDO may be praised as the MMO with the highest graphics fidelity, however, it has some pretty bad, borderline unacceptable pop-in that even creeping up to 10 years after its release has never been fixed. Now, I'm not going to try and overanalyze why the game is designed this way, considering Pearl Abyss are very talented in the graphics and world design department, but I think it's safe to say the problem must lie somewhere within the custom engine they have that handles the LODs rather poorly as a way to help.
I'm like wondering if it's actually like that also in Elder Scrolls Online, because I've noticed that as well, like Elder Scrolls Online, like sometimes you get those kind of load-ins and stuff, but it's also fast and it looks a bit like in BDO almost, kind of. Like, I wonder what kind of engine they've actually used for Elder Scrolls Online, because there it also looks not too horrible if you explore and stuff. And stuff gets loaded in pretty fast, not super fast, but pretty fast, and I think that's already pretty alright.
This seamless open world from lagging out the wazoo. A major part of the pop-in is, of course, the shadows attached to them, as billboard-type LODs obviously cannot block light unless the light is being blocked directly by them, something that an actual 3D rendered object can do better than a flat plane. So with Nanite rendering a 3D object, no matter the distance, the shadows will not be popping in and out constantly. However, shadows do of course affect performance significantly, but as the clip in the previous segment showed, replacing LODs SSDs with nanite actually improves performance, so it should balance itself out. What's really impressive is that being able to render this many objects at once is technology
Water
that
looks
has
nice.
only been available in movies up until this point. So
True.
this is a massive step in technology for gaming, and I genuinely cannot wait to see the feats talented developers can pull off in a few years from now. But it's not
Like, I really think this looks so good, guys, right? And like here you see the difference, right? Like that's before, right? And that's after. And if you look in the distance, here it looks like there are barely any trees, right? And then if you go ahead, you suddenly see more trees. And this is something I hate in games, when you have like a forest somewhere and you only see rocks and you don't see the forest until you get close. Like, what's the point of there being a forest? Like, what's if you're exploring and you're not using any guides, or you're not like wanting to constantly look at your map, but you want to actually orient yourself on the landscape? Like, hey, I have to find a forest for a quest. I don't want to constantly open my map or use my minimap. I just want to explore and run around and find the forest myself. Like, then it's actually really helpful if you have this, right? For those that just want to have some sort of blind playthrough or something, right? I actually think blind playthroughs are very fun because it's more challenging and you have to actually find stuff rather than look it up. Like, I know it's annoying for some people, but that's the same with like quest NPCs. I know that like a lot of people are using Google to find like a quest NPC, but if you actually go and find the NPC yourself and you get lucky or something, it feels more rewarding in my opinion. But that's actually cool if you can see more of the landscape. Or same with like lava and water, if you actually still see sort of the details from the far.
talented developers can pull off in a few years from now.
like
But it's not just popping
so realistic.
that's an immersion breaker for me. Render distance has plagued Ashes of Creation showcases since the UE5
Yeah,
swap
bushes
over at the start of the
disappear and
year,
stuff,
and
right?
with this new 5.1 update, the showcases going forward may be a lot more lenient with their render distance now that Nanite helps Foliage with performance. Generally though, render distance and optimization is not something a game in development should be focused on. It's very much, and always has been, the last
it will
thing
delay
a
the
game
release.
in development deals with. However, because Ashes of Creation is in such a unique position development-wise and marketing-wise, it makes me wonder if optimization and
would maybe main
showcase-focused
this
issues
game.
will be worked on much early as Alpha 2, so Intrepid can really show off the power of Unreal Engine 5 and of course the talented art team Steven has recruited. Now, to end today's video, as we've briefly discussed the future of Ashes of Creation, I think we should conclude the other interesting tidbits related to 5.1 and discuss the engine's future, as it does correlate very closely to Ashes of Creation's development. Anyway,
The future
so the
looks
final parts
unreal.
of the update are very
yeah.
minor and, in my opinion, completely optional additions that don't really
looks
benefit
nice.
an MMORPG specifically. As discussed in the video up here in the top corner, I honestly don't give two shits about graphics. I think gameplay and performance is king. However, I can respect the passionate need for immersion, but again, in my opinion, that immersion
If I'm not mistaken, I think I've heard this in an interview, but this was a long time ago. It's like 1+ year ago or so. It was like it was like Alpha 1 or something. It was like very early. I think they actually said they want the people that explore their world to actually enjoy the exploration and looking at things. So they want to focus a lot as well on the graphics and the look of stuff. It was like an older interview, but I think I've heard them say that they want the exploration feeling to be a good feeling. Like, they don't want stuff to look too crowded, and they also want to give some detail, like some love, right? So I really think actually exploration will be really fun. And I love those kind of games where you go out explore. This is why I'm also a big Elder Scrolls fan and stuff. And I played a lot of like Oblivion, and I used to like run around the grass fields in Cyrodiil, try to find some dungeons. I loved also questing in early World of Warcraft days, where you had to like walk everywhere instead of fast travel, and you got to explore different landscapes. You were, for example, in the Elven Forest, everything is green with trees, and then you go to like Westfall, everything is like looks kind of like fall, autumn season. Everything's like brown, looks dried out and stuff, even the leaves and stuff. So it was like really fascinating for me to actually explore. And this is something I love in MMOs and RPG games as well. If you have like fascinating landscapes to explore, and you have to need to find certain NPCs that you have to kill there, or NPCs for quests. I think it's fascinating. I love exploration a lot in MMO and RPG games.
should not come at the cost of
It
performance.
also tells
One
the
of the
story
key
often
additions
with
to
the
this
landscape,
update is
right?
now that foliage is rendered using nanite, light is able to pass through them in a realistic way,
Wow.
utilizing lumen to simulate light.
This looks like not a
passing through
game, but like
leaves
real life.
they would in real life. The difference
That's a
is
game, right? That's not
staggering,
real life.
really.
That looks
As
like real.
before, the LODs would block
Holy
100% of the
shit.
light, whereas now lumen simply passes through it to illuminate the ground below, like it would in real life. The next
Yeah,
addition is
more
related to
realistic even.
reflections. Previously in Unreal Engine 5, reflections were completely broken for water and glass, giving us
Holy
a
shit.
false reflection that makes no sense with the surrounding environment. However, with 5.1, a true reflection
What?
is now rendered in real time, adding to that immersion
I
factor.
can see the difference a
Interestingly,
lot
this
here.
update does actually apply to a massively multiplayer world, and specifically Ashes of Creation.
I need a
as
new
the
computer
ocean
when
is
Ash of
going to be
Creation
a
comes
major
out.
part of this game. Allowing these realistic reflections is a nice addition. However, this obviously affects performance, and as I stated, is it really worth it? Finally, let's discuss the future of Unreal Engine 5, as Nanite isn't quite finished flexing its muscles. Teased for the future is Nanite landscapes, allowing large expanses of land to be rendered with all the benefits Nanite offers. Better
Wow.
performance, higher detail, and further lowering the bar for low-end PCs to enjoy high-end graphics. What's
light
really
looks
great
better here,
about
yes.
this update, and to be honest, Unreal Engine 5 as a whole, is that all the features shown today are as simple to implement as just clicking a checkbox. And I think that pretty much goes to show just how powerful
I have one concern with this though, and that's for us players. What kind of computer like will we need for Ashes of Creation? Like if it comes out in 2 years, maybe a lot of us will have already upgraded our computer, right? But what if it comes out in just a year? I don't think they can finish in 1 year. I think they need at least 2 years, but who knows? Like we all need to upgrade our computer. So it seems like in at least 1 or 2 years I have to get a new one. I need to upgrade mine. Like I don't think I have a bad computer and I can go like completely maximum on all the games I'm playing right now. But I think in 1 year I might be outdated with everything, and we all, right? So we need to also invest a lot into a brand new computer. And this is like my fear then about game population. Like if a game is really nice and beautiful and stuff, but only few people can play it because their computer can handle it, can we even get a large player base? That's a concern I'm having right now, right? Like sure, good graphics, I like that. That's a luxury. It is very, very nice for exploration. But can we still get a lot of players into the game if the expectations of the computer, of your graphics card, your processor, and everything is like super high? This is my fear with the population now. Like I hope when it comes out, we all have like some technological advancement where our computers can be upgraded for cheap, right? Like that maybe like all the new stuff that is out now gets like super cheap in a year or two. But we don't know that. Like it also depends on the market. Like maybe I can upgrade my computer for like little amount of money in like a year or two. But we don't know how the economy is doing and if everyone can afford this, right? Because not everyone has a well-paying job that wants to play the game. You have also those that maybe are students or they just graduated, started a career. You have maybe some younger folks that still live with their parents and stuff. So yeah, I'm curious about that, like the system requirements.
powerful this engine is compared to competitors on the market for ease of use and ultimately potential, as more custom tools are designed over time. Tools Intrepid have already begun working off, shown a couple of months ago, as Steven and the team have already created a custom tool to help create their massively multiplayer world.
I like the
so
desert
allow me
area
to end
too.
today's video with a question for you, my dear viewer. Do you think all these smaller visual-related innovations are necessary for immersion in an MMORPG? Things like Lumen creating a realistic lighting environment and Nanite allowing objects to render realistically whilst improving
makes the
performance
experience
for lower
better.
NPCs. UE5's main focus is of course to allow accessibility for lower-end PCs to render these amazing-looking environments, but how much of it is really necessary? I've personally never really had my immersion broken out of an MMORPG due to its graphics. It's more about the world design, the UI design, and how the game feels that keeps
True.
me immersed in a game rather than what my eyes perceive. I'm not suggesting that a huge focus on next generation graphics is a waste of time in a massively multiplayer world,
It's
but
not.
well, actually I think it kind of is. But as usual, I am just one nerd desperate for a good MMO. And
all
my
are.
opinion means nothing without yours in the comments below. And hey,
You there! My subscriber gain has dropped down to almost 1K in a 28-day period. What is this? Are you not subscribed? Are you not entertained?
Same here. So
Are you
many
not
people watch me,
high
sometimes
on the
very long
podium?
watch time, but no
Then
subscription. Please subscribe.
God damn it.
my mental health kind of depends on it, you see. Otherwise, it sends me into a pit of depression, and I start questioning my life choice to dedicate myself to a game that quite literally doesn't exist.
But Narc, my glorious master, I must
You know what I'm always afraid of as a content creator? When I'm like making content to one game, and I do this actively for like 2-3 years, and then suddenly I just don't like the game anymore, or I fancy another game that is coming out and I really want to main this or get into it, like what my community will do. I think this is something that all of us content creators are facing, this kind of problem. Like, hey, what if we don't want to play the game anymore that we used to play and we like another game now? Or what is if, I don't know, maybe we want to change the genre up, because maybe suddenly we're no more into MMOs, we want to, I don't know, get into strategy games or something. I'm not gonna get into strategy games, it's just an example, right? But I feel like this is the issue you have as a content creator these days, especially with the YouTube algorithm, because people that watch one type of video could get another category of your video suggested, and if they don't click on it, it lowers your click-through impression rate, because there's some mismatching. Like, let's say you make a video for the MMO players, but then you do an RPG game, or you do a shooting game, and they get this suggested, but they're not into shooting games, for example. And then all your MMO folks, they get this, and then they're gonna click it, and then your average click-through rate from 9% on some videos drops to 4% because of a mismatch with YouTube. This is something I don't like about the new YouTube algorithm with the impression click-through rate, because they don't take into account the mismatching, or if you're doing variety content. But yeah, Narc is on point there though, with like the worry about this. Like, what will be the future if he dedicates himself to a game that's not out yet?
warn you, the copium stores are running low. It has been a while since you harvested the Tears of Pantheon, Rise of the Foreign Backers. I suggest you proceed to antagonize them with cheap shots about how their MMO is complete. How do you say it? Canine's excrement.
And to that I say, you're right, Copium Bot. It is unfair that I've been neglecting Pantheon, Rise of the Fallen. After all, if I don't at least mention them, nobody would even know the game exists. Oh, except, of course, the backers themselves, because they're high on copium.
But I'm actually really fascinated now. Like, I feel like exploration, Ashes of Creation will be a blast. I think it will be an experience that is like nothing that we have seen before. For those of you that love big exploration, like modern MMOs, like BDO, Elder Scrolls Online, or like those a bit older but still famous RPG games like Skyrim, for example, also The Witcher, for example. The Witcher is also a good example, because I think The Witcher has also some good exploration. Like, I think you guys are going to love the Ashes of Creation exploration. But yeah, about performance, I don't know if the computers will be able to handle this, and what we need to upgrade until the release. I'm actually a bit worried about that, especially if it's going to be super expensive. But yeah, let's see. But yeah, what do you guys think about Unreal 5 in MMO, like Ashes of Creation, for example? Do you guys think it's necessary to have 5.1 and like the fancy graphics and all, or you think it's actually not a good choice by Interpret Studios, and it's better if we have a bit lower graphics? Like, let me know in the comment section what you think about this. And yeah, if you guys are new to this channel, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more content. And if you guys enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give this one a thumbs up. I wish everyone a wonderful day. I will see you guys in the next video.